back for another episode of the Bad Ideas podcast with Deb Spence. Hi, Deb.
Hey.
Thank you so much for coming by. I've got you as a housing warrior. Could you tell us what that is and what you do?
That is going into the battlefield when trying to help sellers sell their home, buyers buy, and renters rent, landlords find best tenant, property managers find the best tenant. It's like, it's just like,
It's a battle, yeah. How is it? I mean, we're recording this at the end of January 2020. Like, the market's been a little slow lately. How is it by you? Like, things going okay?
slow, it's dragging, but I mean, it's come back to a normal market instead of like crazy
A
market.
crazy market, yeah.
People standing on line, you standing all the way in the back of the line, 5 blocks away. You just know you're not getting that house.
Yeah. And people
So
are
no
nuts.
more of that, thank God. Well, for no more of that for the buyers, sellers miss it. So, it depends on what side you represent.
Yeah.
It's a great market because you get stuff that you wouldn't normally be able to get in a seller's market.
I love the name of your company, Fierce Realty Corp. Tell us about the team. How'd you get it started? How many people are you now?
So the gut wrenching story is that
Yeah.
I was homeless and
Oh,
I
wow.
just found so many barriers to get housing.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's just so many issues that can cause a person to be homeless. And,
Yeah.
it's not really what you think it is. Like, it's not because I was on drugs or
Yeah.
alcoholic or I made bad decisions. Well, maybe bad decision about a relationship because that's what ended. That's what had me out of
Okay.
the house.
Yeah.
But either way, it doesn't matter how you get there. It's still hard. And at the time, my son was 8 years old, and I made him all of these promises that Christmas Day when we were sleeping in a $45 motel room. And it's like I have to make these promises come true. It's just trying to get him to go to sleep.
Yeah.
But I'm like, okay, maybe I can make this happen.
Yeah.
And I dug us out of that situation. So I have the blueprint for that. And I said, I'm gonna, turn around and fight for others when it comes to housing. So it's really ironic that even as a child,
No, it's mission driven. That's mission driven.
I guess, yeah, because even as a child, my family, housing insecurity and all those things. And now I'm this housing warrior, real estate brokerage, broker owner. It's so, it's really interesting. So 10 years ago almost, I, just said, hey, I'm going to go ahead and figure out how to get my real estate license. And it's been mission, tunnel vision since then. And right now I have 2 locations. And right now I'm sitting in my Pottstown, Pennsylvania location. And
Yeah.
I just took on a new partner and we are just really like digging deep into a strategic plan on how to really serve people, and whether they're on the margins, whether they're in the middle. We want to focus on building people up. As realtors,
That's
we make
amazing.
jokes. As realtors, we make jokes about our clients and stuff like that. So I want to flip it around and make the client the story. Let's focus on the client and not our hardships and
Uh,
how hard it is when a client says they're going to work with their neighbor or
yeah.
they say, "Oh, hey, great catching up. Your friend's great catching up. I just bought this great $4 million house," and you're like, ah. So we make jokes about that, but literally is really difficult for our clients. So really want to, dig a little deeper into that.
That's amazing. That's an incredible story. I'm grateful you're sharing it with us. And grateful that you're here to talk about bad ideas, which are much lighter and less serious. But I mean, amazing that you've kind of built this whole thing yourself and you're solving a problem that affected you. So it's not, I think a lot of the ideas we talk about come from people who are just like, I want to do something different, and they don't think through it the right way.
Yeah.
Like, you felt something real on a personal level and then turned it into a business. Like, now you're people's livelihoods and you help customers. don't know, a lot of light came from that dark situation. I think that's amazing.
Yeah, I think that's the intention of us. You know, some people have dark situations and then they stay in that darkness and
Yeah.
they can't see any light at the end of the tunnel. And I think when you're in a dark space, you have to know that's temporary. Everything ebbs and flows. It's up and down. You
Yeah.
just have to be like a roller coaster. You have to hold on long enough, even if it's by your fingernails, just to get past. And
You,
that's how I
you got to teach entrepreneur classes. That's the
feel.
next mission for you. To teach people that when you fall on your face, because you will, this is how you get through it.
Yeah, figure it out, pivot, move on, you know. So let's talk about the bad idea.
All right, you ready? Okay, so I'll read the bad idea. I haven't seen it yet either.
Okay.
And then we'll spend a couple minutes talking about why it's bad. And when we run out of bad stuff, we'll try to make it good. You ready? We'll do
Okay.
some pivoting, to quote you.
Okay.
All right. So our bad idea is invisible walls architecture. Building properties with invisible walls for a minimalist, open concept living experience. Safety not guaranteed.
Okay. That's dumb as crap.
Yeah. Yeah, right. Like, don't, I mean, privacy is one of the most important parts of your home, right? And that kind of removes it.
Yeah, and safety. Like, is the wall really there? So you can't see it, but you can bump into it?
Yeah, just like a screen door.
Yeah. What if, the baby starts walking and then smash?
That's a safety hazard. That's probably why it's bad.
Right, right. Okay.
There'd be a lot of light, though. Your sunrises would be amazing.
Yeah, and people could just see you like naked in your bed. All right.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I feel it. Have you seen that they're building in Saudi Arabia that like it's a city, but it's built in a
The
wall. It's like a
line,
thousand.
like
Yeah.
I watched that documentary last year. It's like really interesting. Like they're building a line, but it goes up instead of out.
Yeah. Yeah. And there it's like a city inside of a wall type of thing.
It's
So you got to imagine
glass
it's
wall. It's like all glass.
invisible wall, but you got to imagine they've got surveillance all over that place. So basically, it is like everybody seeing you in your house. I think. I mean, on my level, I don't think anyone would want to see me in the morning, so it wouldn't really matter if the walls were invisible or not. But trying to find something positive about this. Who like you move a lot of homes. Like, what do people look at first? When they're shopping.
Well, curb appeal is always
Yeah.
big. You want to roll up in front of the house and it's like, wow. You don't want to drive up and see like trash all out front and weeds and, all of that. You want it to look nice. And then inside the kitchen and the bathroom, those are number one things that, first of all, a woman wants to see it. She wants to see the kitchen nice. She wants to see a nice, clean bathroom. And then you want space. You want a lot of space. And you want something unique, different. I don't think invisible walls would be the unique
It's
thing,
pretty unique.
but
And you can see the kitchen and the bathroom at the same time. It's like the most efficient tour ever.
you can be in the bathroom and they can look at you from the kitchen.
Yeah.
That is interesting.
It's unique.
Yeah, but kitchen and bathrooms, and then unique features like solar roof or a garden on the roof is nice. That's like trending. Definitely a nice deck.
So like you go out into the garden on the roof, or there's just a like
No, it's
vegetation.
like a rooftop deck, and
Uh,
so you climb up there, and it's like greenery, the entire roof covered with greenery, instead of worrying about, okay, do I need to replace my roof and all those things. It kind of sucks in the sunlight, and
huh?
it's an interesting concept. If you want to save energy, it sort of cools things down in the house.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is.
It's like a bio solution.
Correct.
Any issues with like roots coming in through the ceiling after 10 years?
Well, I don't know. It depends on what kind of greenery. I know I've been in homes in Philadelphia where the roots are coming in from the basement. So I don't know if they try to do a garden underneath the house. Just cover it.
Yeah. Oops. Interesting. So garden on the roof is okay. Invisible walls though we're still out on. That's That's a non-starter.
I don't think anyone would be interested in someone looking at their mother in the bathroom.
It wants nobody wants. But what I mean, you've seen these like the ultra modern houses where everything is super square, but they have tons of glass. Like the
Yeah.
whole wall is
Well, the
glass, so
thing
there's
with
tons of
that is
light.
that you can see out, but the other people outside can't see in.
Yeah,
So that's okay. Like if you can
that's okay.
see out, but you can't see in, I'm okay with that.
All right, so one way invisible glass.
One
That
way,
would be okay.
one way. Yeah.
All right, but inside you can see through everything, or inside it's still one way.
No, inside you can just see through like the outside, like your walls inside are not invisible, just like the outer wall is invisible and you can see out,
uh,
but people that are looking, they can't
can't
see.
see
It's
in.
dark, you
All
know.
right,
It's like tinted windows.
so it looks like a haunted house, kind of like the lights are never on, but they're always watching you.
Like the creepy neighbor is sitting there watching everything.
Yeah. Yeah, but you kinda I mean, that's interesting. So it's one-way glass, but only on the exterior walls. So there's still walls. You're not looking at the bathroom from the kitchen, which
Yeah,
nobody
there's
wants to
still
see.
walls. Yeah, so maybe
But
it's not such a bad idea, right?
yeah, well, I mean, that this is sounds like complete invisible walls, which is pretty bad.
Yeah.
But is that a huge selling point? Like more light, more visibility? Does it generally correlate to
It's
yeah?
very huge. People want like sunlight, right?
Mhm.
Especially, I think it came about with COVID when we were in the house for some people a couple of weeks, some people like
A
years
year. Yeah.
or more, like elderly people didn't feel really comfortable coming back out. They're a little cautious. So you want to open up your living space more. And the only way, other than to just add on extensions, maybe bring in some more light. And I think that's where the idea came about. Because then you're like, you're inside, but you really like being a part of the outside at the same time.
You're connected with the outside, yeah. It's that must be why the whole, like, garden on the roof thing is appealing because you take a couple steps and, like, you're with nature, but you're still in the confines of your home, which
Yeah.
is pretty nice.
Yeah. Especially like if you live like in a city area, you
Mhm.
can't put a garden outside. It's not enough space. And you may have
Yeah,
like a little patio in the back. So you go up and then you can still enjoy benefits of a garden as if you were
yeah.
in the suburbs. It's just like in a different place. So yeah, I think out of COVID, some good ideas came about as far as how to extend your indoor space and still be connected to the outdoors.
Mhm. Yeah, that is a cool I haven't heard of that before. Now
Yeah.
are you guys do you have a location near Philadelphia, I think?
Balkenwood is right on the outskirts of Philadelphia. And
Yeah.
actually, it's probably like cross the street. Just go one street and then you're in Philadelphia. So right there at the border, that location, and then another one further out in the suburbs. So we serve an area that's a little bit underserved, Pottstown, sort of like the Rust Belt across Pennsylvania. And then, Philadelphia, which is like where most of our business comes from because it's just a bigger city than working in a
More
small
people.
town. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you do a lot of apartments then if you're at the city, or is it more residential?
So in the city, yeah, it's more investors flipping properties and then renting it out rather than, people buying homes in Philadelphia. So they'll say, hey, I don't want to purchase a home in Philadelphia, but I'll live here for 30 years and rent. I don't understand that, but you have more people that will rent instead of buying. If they want to buy, they want to go into the suburbs, but they really can't afford that.
Mm.
So I think if you're renting in the area for 30 years, I think you should think about buying. And if it's not safe, I think you should make it safe. Because I think people allow crime. I don't think
Yeah.
I don't think crime just happens. I don't think just somebody says I'm going to commit crime. You actually sit there and you watch it happen and do nothing and say nothing. So you allow.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's your fault.
How so? Like, you expect it to come or like
So initially in the beginning, no, you're not expecting that, right?
yeah.
But then if it continues month, year, decade, then and you do nothing to change it, then you're allowing it to happen. Of course, you can't control the beginning of it, the initial stages of it,
Yeah.
but you can control after that. Like you can say zero tolerance, not my neighborhood. Um, you can, when you see a crime, you can report it to the police instead of saying no, I don't want to. I'm afraid. I would be afraid of getting shot than not
Yeah.
calling the police.
Really? Yeah. Well, that's like Detroit, right? Like, isn't
Yeah,
it? There's a whole part of Detroit where the police don't even go because it's so dangerous, right?
yeah,
So that's how it happens. Like people let it get really bad, and then it gets so bad that you can't even enforce it. That's really interesting, especially considering we're talking about a no walls architecture. You combine that with crime, it's kind of not a good idea. Um, but allowing it to happen, I think, is really because crime in general, the last like 2.5, 3 years is up kind of everywhere.
no,
Um, and it's just a really interesting perspective. I kind of feel the same way. I feel like the power is always with the people, regardless of how they feel,
yeah,
because there's just so many of us, right?
right,
To your point, it does make sense if everybody is quiet and nobody does anything. Of course, it's going to keep going, right?
right, right. You
Yeah,
can't let yourself be paralyzed by fear. You have to say, hey, no more. I don't care if I have to build, a gate or, to block off my block or my neighborhood, or if I have to patrol or,
yeah,
do something. I know it's scary, right? Crime is scary. And when you have criminals, which are really bullies, intimidating you, you gotta have some type of bravery, and not everybody has that, and I understand that. So I think we should, those that do have it, go out there and protect the ones that don't have it, like our children, our elderly. They don't have the physical capability of doing those things that you need to do in order to fight off crime. So I think those that are able and capable and have the will to say no more, not on my block. You're not doing that. I think we should be the ones to step up. And I try and encourage other people to do it. And when I see something bad happening, I let the powers that be know.
so when are you running for president?
Oh, never.
I mean, that's got to be the story, right? You build up your business, you help people, and then you go help everybody. Yeah.
I don't think politicians really.
I I agree. I agree. No, but I mean, that's really amazing. I think that's the true spirit of America, right? Like that we can take care of ourselves and we should. And that's something that needs to be heard a little more.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of people here. Even like 10% saying something, you could wipe out crime everywhere in a second.
Right. Right. So, do we really want to wipe out crime? Do we really want to wipe out poverty? I think
Yeah.
it's a business in all in its own to have those things continue to go on. And
Yeah.
because when you think about it, people that lead, like politicians, they lead cities, states, and so forth, municipalities. A lot of them are like they have college degree. They have maybe a bachelor, master degree. Some of them PhD. Some of them lawyers.
Yeah.
Like the smartest of our nation, and they can't figure out how to fix it.
They know.
Right.
I know.
So they don't
Yeah.
want to.
Yeah.
You know.
No. Because I mean, it's like if you fix the problem, there's no more problem to fix. I think that's the I mean, we're bringing it back to business. Like there needs to be demand, and I think there needs to be something bad to be like the anti,
Right.
um, in order to run. Otherwise, it's just ideas, and like, nobody has good ideas anymore.
If there's no problem, then there isn't a business,
Yeah.
and then there's no income for you. And
Hmm.
then, what do? You have to start all over. And I
In
guess they
that
say,
case,
hey, I don't want to start all over. This is I already made it to the top, so let's continue to have these problems.
yeah. So I can continue to fight them. But I think maybe that's your vision. You've proven it, right? Because you did it yourself. Like you took care of yourself. But if everyone pitches in and kind of attacks this stuff together, Like we wipe these out. There are going to be new problems, but there'll be success problems. Like, okay, now there's no homeless people and we got tons of people looking for work. How do
Right.
we give them work? That's a good problem.
There'll always be problems, but you just try and knock them out little by little. Like homeless is a huge problem across the country and even in other countries. Like in Europe, they have homeless problems. But if you don't talk to the people that were homeless and pulled themselves out of being homeless to figure out how did you do it? Like what strategies, what steps did you take? Or you just don't listen. You don't want to know from somebody like me. You just I don't understand that. Why wouldn't you talk to people that already experienced it?
Because you don't really want to solve the problem. But do a lot of people get out, or is it more of like a perpetual thing? And do you know?
I don't know because they don't talk about it.
Nah.
And some people are embarrassed, right? That's like, you've made it to the top, you feel embarrassed. Like, I don't want to say that because then some people may think that I was on drugs or, I had another problem. I mean, I really
Or
don't.
they'll think you're really strong, or they'll think you're fierce.
Right. I think
Right?
you're weak. And, I think more people should talk about it. I think people do really.
Yeah. Yeah. We did I've never, only I'm in South Florida, and I think because the weather's really nice, like this is a good place to be homeless. Like
Yeah.
it's really comfortable and they keep it clean. There's a lot of benches. But we did my only interactions, I walk my dog in the morning and he just loves everybody. So he has people he has to say hi to every morning and they all know him. But we don't it's always just like small talk. Hey, how are you? Doing well, good to see you type of stuff. Never really serious. But we actually I think our third show, the bad business idea was homeless tours, and like you'd actually pay to experience life that way.
Oh,
Um,
really?
and the resolution of the show is just that like someone who actually lives outside in the city probably sees it totally differently than anyone else,
Mhm.
which was interesting. But it brought up a lot of these points. Like there's not a lot of information. There's not a lot of awareness of like
How do
what's
you get to that
actually
point?
going
Right.
on. Yeah, like what people are going through. And like I see these guys every morning. I don't know what they're dealing with or what they want, what they're trying to do, or if they're trying.
It should be like maybe a simulation. Like, you put on those goggles.
Yeah,
You're the homeless person and you're trying to navigate through the game or something. Like it
yeah,
should be something like that. I always thought about that like as far as race too. Like what is it like to be a black person in America? So
mm.
you had like a simulation.
Put on a yeah.
Right, right. What happens when you just get in your car, when you go to the store, when you go to work or to go to school? So
That's a good idea. It's VR, so like
right, so
interesting.
it's like in your face because VR is
Yeah,
like right there, and then you kind of feel the emotions of it all.
yeah.
I
That's
think
really
you started
interesting.
a business. Look at that.
I mean, you're just full of good ideas. That must be the secret, like how you changed everything, like having good ideas. But I really love you sharing the story and talking about where you've been and being open about that
Sure.
because it can be inspiring to a lot of folks. Because I think like most people want to go from like a place of relative safety to business owner, and you went from something fairly dangerous to like multi-business owner, which is the full span. So it's a story that'll move a lot of people.
I hope so.
How do they? I mean, do you tell more of your story elsewhere? Like, do any speaking or you're writing a book or anything like that?
Um, I share my story. Like there's a county task force that
Yeah,
was created to solve the problem of homelessness, and I go to a few focus groups that they create. I'm on a committee, and I share my story. I tell my story to anyone that would listen. A lot of
yeah.
people just don't want to listen. And locally, yes, I share my story, but I haven't had an opportunity to share it like a bigger platform.
There's a there's a really big show down here in Miami called Emerge Americas. It's more like international business focused, but might be an interesting plot. There's always some kind of like social angle to it,
Okay.
and you're such a good speaker. That would be a good
I
one.
thank you for the compliment. I appreciate it.
I mean, where do we net out? So invisible walls, bad idea.
Bad
This is
idea.
not gonna work.
Bad. Yeah. Yeah.
But do we think there's something to the one-way mirror on external walls?
I think that's the good part. That's the good idea.
That was your idea. How do how do listeners get in touch? You know, if anyone wants you to come speak to their company or learn more about you and your story, how do they find you?
Email Deb at Deb Spence.
Awesome. All right, we'll put that up on the screen too. Well, thank you so much for filming with us. This is a ton of fun.
Thank you. Much love. Thank you. I
All
appreciate
right.
it.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Bye bye.